Hey, welcome to the Beyond You podcast. And I'm just so excited that you were here because we love to dive into these topics that can be a little bit controversial, but it's because I want to be able to helping you heal, helping you work through situations that are challenging to work through. So let's picture this. I want you to think about the last three people you were seriously involved with, or serious about, or completely undone by. Now, I want you to notice something. Not what they looked like, not what they did for the living, not even what they said to you. How did they make you feel? I want you to really think about that. Because I'm willing to bet, and I say this with so much compassion, that underneath the different names and different faces and different situations, the feeling was remarkably similar. The same anxious waiting, the same emotional reaching, the same cycle of closeness and distance, the same version of you trying harder, giving more, wondering what you did wrong. Different person, same story, same ending. And you've probably asked yourself at some point, what is wrong with me? Why do I keep ending up here? Here's what I want you to hear today. Nothing is wrong with you, but something very specific is happening inside your nervous system. And until you understand what that is, you will keep choosing the same person in different bodies. Not because you're broken or something, all the things people tend to say, but because your brain is doing exactly what it's trained to do. And I know we talked about this before, but I wanted to talk a different capacity because I still find this coming up within sessions, within our team. Before we go further though, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe right now or in Spotify. It really kind of helps us kind of get to be around more people. Hit the notification bell as well because new content drops every week, and this conversation is part of a series you don't want to come into halfway. So go ahead and subscribe. I'll wait. And how about you drop a comment as well? Just tell me, what's one word that describes the emotional pattern you keep repeating in relationships? Just one word. I'm reading every single one. Okay, so let's get into it. Welcome to the Beyond You podcast, where we have real conversations about healing, trusting yourself again, and building the kind of relationships that actually feel good. I'm Samantha, and if you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you're doing all the right things but still feeling disconnected, you're in the right place. Because here we go beyond the surface, beyond the hurt, beyond the patterns that keep you stuck. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's get into it. So I love to be able to get into in the beginning of the real reason it keeps happening. So let's start with that. Let's start with something that nobody is saying clearly enough in this conversation. You're not choosing the same person because you have bad taste. You're not doing this because you're naive or desperate or not trying hard enough. You're doing this because your brain has learned to associate a very specific emotional pattern with something it believes is safe. So let me break that down, okay? Because we're going to be in this together. So understand that your nervous system has a template, right? From the time you were a child, your nervous system was building a template for what love feels like, not what love should feel like, not the healthy version, the version it actually experienced. And I don't really realize how much it does affect us. And that template was built from your earliest attachments, primarily your parents, your caregivers, whoever was responsible for making you feel safe and loved and seen. So if those relationships were warm and consistent, your template says, love is reliable. Love is safe. Love comes without drama. But If those relationships were inconsistent, anxious, critical, emotionally unavailable, or required you to perform for affection, your template says, this is what love feels like. This is home. And here's where it gets really important. So definitely want you to be able to lean in. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between familiar and good. It only distinguishes between familiar and unfamiliar. Familiar equals safe. Unfamiliar equals threat. That's why it feels so uncomfortable when doing new things and trying new things. So when you meet someone whose emotional pattern matches your template, even if that pattern involves inconsistency, emotional unavailability, or anxiety, your body says, I know this. This feels like home. And you call it chemistry. So we got to really understand that chemistry lie, though, because this is the part I need to say directly. What we call chemistry sometimes is just recognition. That's all it is. Your nervous system recognizing a pattern it already knows, a dynamic it's already survived before, an emotional landscape that feels navigable because you've been navigating it your whole life, even if navigating is costing you everything. So those butterflies that you've been experiencing, sometimes that genuine excitement, but sometimes, and I need you to sit with this, sometimes it's just your anxiety, your nervous system on high alert because something familiar and activating just walked into the room. And we've been so conditioned to equate intensity with love that we can't tell the difference between this person excites me and this person is activating my nervous system in a way that feels like home, even though home was painful. Right? So let me know if you resonate with what I'm saying, right? Have you ever had just intense chemistry with someone and realized later it was actually anxiety? Because I want to know how many of you just are nodding your head right now. So let's get into just how the template gets built. Right? Because being able to understand this can possibly help us working through this. So where does the template actually come from? Let's get specific. I know we talked a little bit about it. So number one is going to be the inconsistent caregiver. If you grew up with a parent who was emotionally unavailable, not necessarily cruel, sometimes even loving, but just inconsistent, warm sometimes, distant to others, just engage when it was convenient, absent when you needed them the most. Understand that you learn to work for those warm moments. You learned that love is something you earn through performance, through being good, just through being good enough, through reading the room well, enough to stay in favor. So that's why you find yourself kind of continuing to just earn someone's love in that capacity. So how this shows up as an adult, you gravitate toward people who require the same effort, people who make you work for their attention because the dynamic is what your nervous system just learned to call love. So when someone is just consistently available, consistently warm, consistently choosing you without games, it feels almost suspicious. Like something is wrong with them, or like you haven't earned it yet. And that discomfort you feel around truly available love, that's not incompatibility. That's just your nervous system encountering something it doesn't have a template for. So now we're going to go into just the critical caregiver. If you grew up with a parent who was loving but critical, whose approval always came with conditions, whose love felt like it could be drawn when you didn't measure up, you learned that love and criticism go together. And definitely let me know if any of these resonates with you. Because what happens is now you find yourself in relationships where you're never just quite enough, where there's always something to improve. And it's where love feels like a moving target they're constantly trying to hit. And what happens? It's familiar, but comfortable. So we just know their brain wants to go towards familiarity. I like to be able to kind of put, even when it comes to people of color as well, our template gets built based off of family, but also by culture. So when we were taught that good women stay, good women endure, good women make it work, the ride or die narrative, that was really big back then. The he is a good man, just difficult narrative. The every relationship takes work narrative that gets applied even when it's not work, it's suffering. So the template isn't just personal, it's generational, it's cultural, it's been handed down through just the women in your family who stayed because they had to. And somewhere along the way, their template became yours. And that doesn't make it your fault, but it does make it your responsibility to examine. So let's get into section 3, right? Where we're going to talk about the twist nobody expects. Because I think this is really vital important. I need you to stay with me here because this is the part of this conversation that's going to feel uncomfortable. And I'm saying it because I care about you, not because I'm trying to make you feel bad. So no, this is not what this is about. Like, I wanted for you to understand what's going on so you choose differently. So the pattern isn't just about who you are choosing. It's about what you're available for. Because here's what I want you to understand. You've probably said to yourself, I just need to choose better. You've made a list of red flags. You've sworn off a certain type. You've been intentional, right? I hear you guys in the sessions. You've been intentional about screening people early. And somehow, you still end up in the same place. This is why you're here, because we're going to work through this. And I want to ask you, is it possible that part of you is more comfortable with someone who can't fully choose you? Because being fully chosen requires a vulnerability. I keep telling you guys this, it requires vulnerability you haven't learned to tolerate yet. And I need you to be able to sit with that. Because being fully loved consistently, steadily, without conditions requires you to believe that you deserve it. Not intellectually, not I know I deserve love as a caption you post, but in your nervous system, in your body, in the place that decides who feels safe to let in. So it's not just a brain thing, it's you knowing that you deserve this. And if somewhere underneath everything, you carry the belief that you're too much or not enough, or that your love is conditional on your performance and what you do to earn it, then someone who loves you without conditions will feel unsafe, almost threatening, because your system doesn't know what to do with that. And the person who's inconsistent, the one who makes you work for it, they're going to feel safer because at least you know the rules. At least you know what to expect. What do you guys say? It's good to W you know versus W you don't know. At least you know what game you're playing. And this isn't a criticism. This is the most important thing I can tell you. You have to become someone who can receive real love before real love will feel right. Not someone who deserves it. You already deserve it. But someone whose nervous system believes you deserve it. Those are two very different things. So let me know if that resonated. Like, what would it feel like to be? I want you to think about that. What would it feel like to be fully chosen without having to earn it? You just got to tap into that feeling. And I genuinely want to know what comes up for you, because sometimes it's very challenging for people to know exactly what that would feel like. So being able to see how it's described can really help somebody else. So section 4, let's get into good stuff. How to actually break the pattern. All right. So now the real question, how do you actually break this? And I want to be honest with you, this isn't 3 easy steps situation here. This is nervous system rewiring. It takes time, consistency, and my clients and the other members of my team will let you know. Like, when we are supporting people, understand that it is a process, because we want to make sure that your nervous system feels calm and safe within you. But here's where to start. Let's start here. So step 1, I want you to learn the difference between chemistry and familiarity. So start asking a different question when you meet someone. Not, do I feel chemistry, which is to me, but do I feel calm? Because here's what I want you to get. Genuine connection, healthy love, the kind that actually good for you. It has chemistry, but it also has quality of calm underneath it, a sense of safety. Your body isn't on high alert. You're not performing. You're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. None of that. If every interaction with someone leaves you slightly anxious, slightly unsettled, slightly unsure of where you stand, understand that's not passion. That might be your nervous system recognizing a familiar pattern. So I really want you to start just paying attention to how your body feels around other people, not your head, but your body. We really got to allow ourselves to do that, because I want you to think about, does your chest relax or tighten? Do your shoulders drop or they stay up? Does your breathing deepen or stay shallow? Understand that your nervous system knows before your mind catches up. That's what God listens to our body. So step 2, get curious about your template. You cannot change a pattern you cannot see. So start getting curious, not critical, right? Not critical. Some of you guys, curious about the emotional patterns in your earliest relationships. Ask yourself, what did love feel like growing up? What did I have to do to feel loved? What happened when I had needs? What happened when I disappointed the people who were supposed to love me? That's going to give you a lot of good information there, because you're not doing this to blame your parents or your past. You're doing it to understand the template your nervous system is running on, so you can decide if that's the template you want to keep. Okay, so definitely you can write these down, whether it is in the Miss Me journal or whether it's just kind of your paper. Or the Miss Journal has prompts in there to specifically just kind of get these things pulled out of you. But whatever that is, I just want you to be able to write this stuff down, right? I want you to be able to show up fully for yourself, so you don't internalize this, and see exactly kind of what is going on here, so you can start changing it. In step 3, I want you to practice tolerating the unfamiliar. And I say this all the time in my sessions. And if you have worked with me, you already know this. We're getting comfortable with uncomfortable. That is it. This is the hardest step, because it requires you to stay with discomfort instead of running from it. And we know we really practice. My other therapists work on this too. my team. So you can be able to be uncomfortable. So when someone who says you're too nice or available, too consistent, before you dismiss them, I want you to ask, is this person actually not right for me, or do you just have feeling for my nervous system? And this is when you're meeting someone, okay? Not every person who feels boring in the beginning is actually wrong for you. Sometimes boring means regulated. Sometimes calm means safe, and you have to practice distinguishing between this isn't the right person and this doesn't feel like the familiar pattern, then that's making me uncomfortable. Like, you really got to be able to distinguish between the two. And if you have any questions on this, please let me know, because I can make sure another video and answer all any questions that you have. But practice sitting with the discomfort of being treated well. Start there. Practice receiving consistency without immediately looking for what's wrong. Practice trusting that steady is not the same as stagnant. Now, let's get into step 4. Do the work separately from dating. Here is the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire episode, because I know relationships come up, dating comes up in this. You cannot date your way out of this pattern. It just doesn't work that way. Yes, you can date while doing this, but you cannot date your way out of it. It's not going to change necessarily just from dating other people. Choosing different people while carrying the same template will just produce different faces of the same story. The work has to happen inside you in your relationships, not just your relationship choices. So what does that mean? That means therapy, ideally with someone who understands attachment and relational trauma. It means somatic work that helps your nervous system actually feel what a safety is, not just intellectually understand it, but also means community. Just being around just women who are doing the same work. And as I'm creating these different events that are coming up within this year, I really want you to really focus on having just a community, right? And this is where I create spaces that are like this, whether that's at YouTube or when I do my in-person events. I want you to have people that actually are doing the same work and get it. Step 5, grieve what you wish your template had been. This one doesn't sound practical for those that kind of think in their head, but this is the most necessary of it all. And at some point, you have to grieve the love you deserved, but didn't get. Not to stay in that grief. I'm not saying that, and that's a common question, but to move through it cleanly instead of carrying it into a new relationship. Because here's what unprocessed grief does. And you probably have done it or witnessed it, or it definitely probably has come up. It makes you keep returning to the scene of the wound, trying to get a different outcome. It does. You keep choosing someone who resembles the original wound because some part of you is still hoping this time will be different. This time they'll choose you. This time you'll finally be able, or you just finally will be enough, which tends to come up quite a bit. But they're not who you think they are. And we're always enough. Like, that's no question. We're always enough. So thank you guys for staying with me. I truly appreciate it. I hope this definitely resonated with you, because here's what I really want you to, what I need you to walk away with understanding is you didn't keep choosing the same person in different bodies because something is wrong, right? Nothing is wrong with you. You kept choosing what felt like home, even when home was painful, because your nervous system was trying to protect you with the only map it had. But the great thing about you being here and listening to this episode, that you have a new map now. You understand that chemistry isn't always connection, that familiar isn't always safe, right? That the discomfort of being fully chosen isn't a red flag. It might just be your nervous system encountering something it hasn't learned to trust yet. And that can change. That's the great thing about it. You can change it. Right? Not by trying harder though, not by trying hard to choose better people, but by doing the deeper work of becoming someone whose just nervous system believes they deserve to be chosen. Steadily, consistently, and without conditions. That is the real work. It's slower than making a list of green flags. It's harder than cutting off your situationship, but it's the work that actually breaks the cycle instead of changing the cast of characters. I really want you to take this in, that you deserve that kind of love, not just as a concept you believe in, but as something your body can actually receive without flinching. So, here's just what I need from you. Definitely hit subscribe. If you like this episode, let me know so I know to make more of these types of episodes, and definitely share it with a friend because I want to be able to reach more women, within this year. And new episodes drop every week, and this conversation is just part of something bigger. And I see you guys are watching the episodes and letting me know about it, and I appreciate you. I truly appreciate each time you watch this episode and lets me know that you want to hear more of these conversations and continue on with this podcast. So share this episode with a friend. You can also tag me on Instagram at iamsmith.a, or it will be on you, or you can tag me in TikTok. Let me know, on TikTok in the comment section. I try to make posts daily as much as I can, right? Understand that you're working from a new map now, right? And you're doing this work, and if any questions, make sure to let me know. And I will see you guys next week.